friends, and welcome back to Lit for Queers, the corner of YouTube where I discuss queer books and I present to you queer content. Today I have for you four sci-fi fiction books that I think that you definitely should read. The sci-fi book that I read and loved recently is called Interstellar Megachef, and I didn't expect it to to be such an experience. I didn't expect to love it so much. I have to thank the Colored Pages book tour for this because they kindly picked me as one of their tour hosts. So, this is my little review. Hopefully, non spoilery, but I'm getting so excited about this book and I really hope that the sequel comes out soon. So, Interstellar Megachef has come out just a few days ago on the 5th of November, and the book follows Saraswati, who is an earthling fleeing her home planet with just a bag of clothes and her own little robot, and one invitation to compete in an interstellar version of Megachef. And she's trying to prove herself against a lot of things that she left behind on Earth. And on the new planet that she lands to, which is called Primus, they are not really used to having Earth people like her compete in on television or really in a lot of positions of power or visibility, and that's because they consider Earthlings, despite Earth being the kind of the genesis of their own planet. They consider it to be really primitive, and they've left all of what was wrong with Earth behind, or so they assume, or so they say. And so Saraswati is bringing a lot of controversiality into this program. And so we're gonna follow her as she attempts to win this contest. And at the same time, we're also following another character whose name is Serenity Cole. So on the planet Primus, all of the beings have a sort of double name. One of them represents a characteristic that Primians, the beings that habitate this planet, hold. So it's serenity and generosity, all of the good things. So a lot of the names of people will be double, and they will be, for example, curiosity something, serenity something, and so on. So we follow her as well, and she's a child of Primus. She's a child of overachieving parents and grandparents, and she is a sort of prodigy in the corporation where she works at. She creates experiences, and she's really good at her job, and she's really into it. And the two will cross paths really randomly, and after a lot of trials, they will become friends, and there's a lot more going on here. I'm really trying hard not to spoil this, but what I liked about this book is that it doesn't just focus on the two main characters, but it actually provides a lot of multiple perspectives on the life on this planet. And as I said, the inhabitants of this planet do think that they're so much more evolved than Earthlings. And one really interesting thing that the author does here is showcasing us how that is not true. And by giving us perspectives coming from, for example, two chefs that have been there on that planet forever, but because they were born on Earth, they're still not treated equally. And then we have another political perspective. We have a better understanding of what life is like on this planet, and I really appreciate that. And this is the first in a series. I don't know how many books we expect them to have, but I'm guessing that in the other books there's going to be a lot more of the political plot, which I really enjoyed. And another detail that I want to shout out is the focus on food. You would expect a sci-fi book not to have that focus, but obviously this book has a gigantic donut on on the cover, so it's kind of intrinsic to the story, and it's intrinsic to the story because food is also political, and this novel showcases that very well. It kind of merges the politics of Earth and the politics of this new planet that is presented to us, and how food can tie people together, but it can also divide them, and so does prejudice, for example. And so I really love this, and I really encourage everybody to pick it up. The second sci-fi novel I'm about to recommend you is called A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martin. And this novel follows an ambassador, Mahid, who is sent to replace her predecessor on this multi-system empire. And she gets there only to find out that he has passed away. And unfortunately, nobody seems to be talking about the real reason why he died. And nobody seems to be able to admit that his death was not an accident. And that actually Mahid might be next in line to die, because the political uncertainty of the times is really high, and her presence on the planet in the empire is not very well regarded. And so in the first installment of the series, Mahid needs to find out who committed the murder and why, and keep herself protected on this in the system that doesn't really like her, first, and second, that is really seductive and trying really subtly to get their claws in her. And so I think this is perfect if you guys want to start a series. And this was published in 2019, and there's a lot of queerness in it, and so I really recommend it. Another sci-fi book I want to recommend you is called Translation State by Anne Leckie. This is not one that I've seen anywhere really, and I think it's an incredible option. And this is basically about a translator, Kwan. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not entirely sure. Who is basically tasked with only learning human ways to then be able to replicate them. And they're the pride and joy of their clave until they rebel and go against what they're meant to do. And technically, they're supposed to be kind of like suppressed because of this, since it's not in their optimal way, but this doesn't happen. And so Kwan ends up meeting two other beings, and these meetings and these friendships, these relationships will end up changing the course of everything, really. And I think this is a great read if you're looking for something that has a lot of humanity in it, despite not necessarily dealing with humans. It's got a lot of focus on friendship, it's got a lot of focus on the humanity of relationships per se. And I just think the writing is brilliant. The last novel I want to recommend to you is an oldie but a goodie, and I'm gonna take my phone in a moment because I need to read you guys the first sentence of the Goodreads blurb, because I don't think I can do the book as much justice as Goodreads can do it this time. Stars in My Pocket Like Grains of Sand, and it's by Samuel R. Delaney. It was published in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, so this is an oldie, but it's definitely really progressive and modern in the way it tackles issues of gender and technology, and I think it's just great. So let me just grab my phone. On Goodreads, you can read Stars in My Pocket Like Grains of Sand is a science fiction masterpiece, an essay on the inexplicability of sexual attractiveness, and an examination of interstellar politics among far-flung worlds. I think this sounded great, personally. And yeah, it does exactly what it says it would do. It explores a lot of these connections and a lot of the ties and relationships between gender and sexuality and technology and all of that. And I really enjoyed it, so I hope you can enjoy it too. So these are the 4 books that I am recommending to you today. I'm hoping that you're gonna pick up Interstellar Megachef soon, because I need to scream about it with somebody. And I mean, it's got a gigantic donut on the cover. Why wouldn't you want to pick it up? It's got sapphic yearning, it's got really cute platonic relationships, and it's got a political subplot. It's great. So thank you again to Colored Pages Book Tour for picking me as a host So hopefully you can go and check out this book because it's really worth it. And you can tell me if you have more recommendations for sci-fi books that focus on queer characters. And until the next video, have a good day. Bye.